Hey, this is Sky. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're interested in life coaching and mentoring, go check out my website at skyazrael.com. Let's talk about purpose. Let's talk about meaning. A lot of people want to have a meaningful life, a purpose-driven life. They want purpose in life. I think everybody wants that. Some of us search for it more than others. And I think that's part of how you find it, is that you search for it. Maybe if you're lucky, your purpose in life can come knocking at your door, and you can get your pants on and your shoes on and say, okay, I'll see you guys later. And there you go. You know, your ticket arrived. A lot of us kind of wander this planet feeling like aliens, feeling like we don't belong here, feeling like we don't belong in our own families. I've never felt like I even belonged to my own family. I don't feel like one of you. But I feel like the outcast, the black sheep. I don't think like the rest of you. I don't act like the rest of you. I didn't have a life, an upbringing like the rest of you. I don't even know how the fuck I was born in this family. I feel like that at my job. I feel like that in my neighborhood. I feel like that everywhere I fucking go, at my entire life. And I've wondered why, you know. And I've moved all over the country with this intention of trying to find where I belong. Because I felt lost. There's no meaning, there's no purpose. I sit in my house, look around and say, well, what's the point of living here? Why do I live in this town? What am I doing here? And then I move. And I do that over and over and over and over and over again. At least I used to. I lived all over this country. People ask me where I'm from, and I'm just like, I don't even fucking know anymore. So I got West Coast tattooed on my hand to remind me. You know, it's interesting about finding meaning in life. People are looking for the meaning in life, but you have to find meaning in your life. The meaning in life is too vague for all of us, as if we're all going to have the same meaning. Now, if you are looking for that type of lifestyle to latch onto, you can go join a cult. Oh, a cult will give you a meaning of life. They'll give you everything you need to do, think, believe, everything. And if you try to break out of that bubble, they'll punish you. And same with some churches, not all. There's some very dogmatic religions or aspects to religion. Every religion has its orthodox section, but not even the orthodoxy. For example, you could be a Catholic, and I'm not trying to bath Catholics, but you follow the rules or you're out, buddy. And people who are looking for meaning and purpose find that in religion, because you dedicate your life to God. There you go. There's your meaning. You wanted a purpose in life? Everything you do, everything you're about is all dedicated to God. You serve God every day. The Pope isn't confused about what the meaning of life is. He already has it figured out for himself. The meaning of your life is a personal journey. That's why we can never solve it for everyone. What works for you may not work for me. You like one type of music, I like a different type of music. You might like one type of food, I like a different type of food. What works for you doesn't work for me. I find this with personal training. I do personal training sometimes with people. I'm not a personal trainer, but I am all about mind, body, and soul, and I'm a life coach, and I can get you in the best shape of your goddamn life. But what works for me may not always work for you. So we have to tailor a program for you. We have to tailor your diet for you. Your macros are going to be unique to you. So, in order to find your purpose in life, your meaning in life, You have to start putting patterns and symbols and signs together. You have to get out of a thought process of randomness. And I have another video talking about randomness, and I don't remember if I touched on this aspect of it though, but there's a scientific belief that all life is random. That the Earth itself happened because random gases mixed with each other and spun around, and debris, asteroids and that type of stuff get into it. It's all random. The fact that the Earth is in the habitable zone, this sweet spot distance from the sun where it's just not too close and not too far, that appears to be random. If we were to deviate from that, you know, a few feet, even a couple hundred yards, our entire planet would be different. I mean, we're kind of told through science that life arose out of the oceans and crawled onto the beaches, and through evolution, this whole process is random. And it's hard to predict, it's hard to replicate. I mean, we can create life, but only by procreation, only by fucking each other, not through test tubes. We can't create it from nothing. That appears to be a whole set of somewhat random conditions that come together. That's how you create a planet, that's how you create life. That's why it's so hard to find other planets that can sustain life, and let alone find other life. It just all feels so random. If it was so easy to describe, if it was a pattern, you can describe patterns. It's hard to describe a random pattern to somebody. So with this kind of scientific notion of randomness of the universe, of life in general, of evolution, of everything, and atheism contributes to that. People who are non-believers, and I'm not trying to promote religion. I think it's important to have some sort of spiritual connection. And when you're atheist and you have no spiritual connection to a higher power at all, then you have no connection to anything. And you may very well feel just like a pinball in a pinball machine. You're just bouncing around randomly. You don't even know if you really belong here. We all live, we die, what's it all for? There is no point to it, apparently. And when you feel that way, that's your scientific outlook of the life, that's your truth, then your personal life is purposeless and meaningless. And you're going to live and die and nobody's going to care, and your whole life is like a blip, a flash of light. It's just meaningless and pointless. And I mean, this is how people end up killing themselves. They go too far down that rabbit hole. But I think we can find meaning in life by looking for it like a tracker. Like one of these trackers, if you've ever been hunting or if you've ever watched one of these hunting shows, they have these guys that can track big game, track animals. It's amazing to watch these motherfuckers because they could go out into the woods and start seeing clues. They see some broken branches, some bent over leaves, a spot that might look like a footprint, a place that may have looked like it was urinated on, some dark colored spot on the ground. They may find some poop, they may find all this stuff. For them, they're looking at a wealth of information that tells an entire story. They're finding the meaning just by looking around them, and you might just see a boring patch of woods. That stretch of woods has been behind my house for as long as I've lived here, and there's no action there. It's boring. But you get one of these survivalist motherfuckers and they'll tell you a whole story about what goes on in that patch of that woods. To them, it's the most fascinating thing they've ever seen, and you just don't get it. And part of it is because of this ability to see the signs and symbols that are all around you at all times, to be able to decode the information that's around us. And we see very narrowly in this world, to be able to broaden your view and to see more. It's kind of like what, if you ever read a Sherlock Holmes book, I like Sherlock Holmes for this reason, because he can see what others don't. He has this power of observation that's amazing. A broken matchstick tells an entire story, whereas for you it's just a stupid broken matchstick. It means nothing. So when we become trackers, tracking the signs and symbols that are sent our way, like a hunter, then we continually, a whole world of information opens up to us that's right in front of us, and we find clues along the path. We find meaning and purpose in everything. When you hear a song, the lyrics in it don't just affect you, but you start to realize that that song played at that exact time as you were driving down this exact road. It all has some sort of meaning. And slowly your entire life comes together with meaning. You can get to a point like this of being a tracker, being able to track things, to see things, see the signs and symbols. You can do that through mantra, by telling yourself, I recognize the signs and symbols that are sent my way, but you can also get heavily engaged in a disciplined lifestyle of mind, body, and soul, and this strengthens you. I talk about it in every video. It opens up your mind. It helps you to see outcomes before they happen. Not like you're psychic. It's almost like you're predicting it, you're causing it to happen. There's an aspect of quantum physics, I believe it is, of science, where they can observe light. And light can either be a particle or a wave. Now, it's a particle when you observe it as a particle. And when the observer has an intention, okay, this is the particle experiment, and we're going to observe light as a particle. Hopefully, we'll see if it works. And they do it, whatever the experiment is, and it turns out light is a particle. Yeah, wonderful. They pat themselves on the back. Hooray! They write their paper. But then they can also observe light as a wave. Completely different than a particle. Completely different. And they set the experiment up and they say, we're going to observe light as a wave, at least see what happens. And light's a wave. Light's either a particle or a wave, but it depends on how you intend to observe it. Your intention affects the outcome of the experiment, and this is similar with life. If you have an intention of finding meaning, meaning presents itself because it's all around you all the time. Just like if you learned how to track and you went out in the back of the woods back behind your house, those woods that you feel are barren and no real life is in it, maybe a couple squirrels. But if you learned how to track, all of a sudden that woods would tell you a whole story. Those boring woods, that little strip of woods, would be incredibly meaningful to you all of a sudden. It's just food for thought. Thanks for watching.